How's it going, everyone? This is a new thing I'm going to try. It's what I'm going to call a vlog. It's my video blog. I recently attended a conference in Boston put on by the Medical Group Management Association, MGMA, of which I'm a member. It was a fabulous conference, an incredible opportunity for me to learn, to improve on my craft, similar to a lot of CME events that our providers attend. But for leadership, healthcare management, helping to understand trends and occurrences in the healthcare industry and market. And I'm going to share a lot about what I learned there as I start this new video blog on my YouTube channel. I'm going to do a series of these types of discussions, share with you what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, share success stories, share inspirational stories, just share tidbits of information. So that came to me as I sat in one of these meetings. It wasn't something that was being discussed, but oftentimes for me, sometimes just the environment it facilitates thought, and different things come to mind that I can do to help improve communication in our organization. And so I'm going to try this for a little bit and see what kind of feedback I get from you all. But I wanted to share one of the things that was discussed in one of those courses, which was healthcare consumerism, and how that varies based on generational differences. And I'm going to show some information from some of the slides that were shared at that session of that conference. But I've had this discussion with some of you a little bit, that the various generations are not consuming healthcare in the same way. My grandparents do not consume healthcare the same way that I do. My children won't consume healthcare in the way that I do. There's different preferences. Whereas my parents and grandparents are more the traditionalists, which for me was, you believe every word your physician says. You sort of worship the ground that they walk on. You have a very tight relationship and trust your physician and your provider very, very much. My generation and younger, we seem to be a little bit more careful about the information that we hear from a provider. We criticize it. We look up online and see what information is out there about my diagnosis and see if it jives with what you're telling me. We question you, which is different. And so what does that mean for Cedar Point Health? Well, at least one of the things that we've done over the past year, obviously, is we've added a different line of business. Urgent cares are their consumption, which is being driven by multiple things, but at least one of them is younger generations prefer to consume healthcare in an urgent care model, prefer not to make an appointment. They don't necessarily care that they see the same provider that they saw on their last visit. They don't want to spend a lot of time. They want it reasonably priced. They want to walk in, get care that they need, and walk out. And so we've added urgent care to Cedar Point Health, not exclusively to serve that population. It has a number of benefits, reducing ER visits for all of our other patients, and after hours option that we didn't have previously. There's a lot of reasons that we added urgent care, but one of them was to serve that younger population, either that has a high deductible health plan or maybe no health insurance at all. And so I wanted to share a slide. I'm going to just share my screen really quick. And then, so this is what was discussed, was these different generations of patients: boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, and Gen Zs are sort of a younger millennial group. Um, and I wanted to share this one slide. If I skip down through, it's on page 10 here. I think this outlines at least part of this discussion. So this is the result of what's most important, or the most important influence on the decision to make a doctor's appointment for boomers, Xers, older millennials, and younger millennials. So just as I was kind of sharing, the boomers and older generation value very much the recommendation of their doctor. And so if their doctor says you need to be seen, you better believe that they're going to listen to it. Not to say that these people don't value it, but they don't value it in the same degree that boomers did. This is also interesting. Look how this one about who values online reviews. Boomers don't care much at all about online reviews. And millennials, younger and older, put a fairly significant amount of weight onto online reviews. This is why this continues to be part of our ongoing discussion, and we have, things in the works to hopefully impact positively our online reviews. And there was a lot more discussion, obviously, but that's one of the things that I wanted to share about this. Technology changes things ever so quickly. In fact, an interesting experience that I had was as a teenager, I decided to go serve a mission for my church. And so I ended up in southern Spain and was there for a couple of years. And part of the rules and standards that I followed as a missionary was to sort of be disconnected from the world and focus on the service that I was providing. And that means I was pretty disconnected from technology. I had left my stash of CDs with a high school friend, and expected to come back to those and use those. And something that I remember that was shocking to me was that when I got on my flight home, I flew from Madrid to Atlanta. And when I was on the airplane, I noticed these weird devices that everyone had, and they had their earphones plugged into them, and they were smaller than even the phone in my hand right now. And I had literally no idea what those devices were. In fact, I had to ask the guy next to me. I said, "Hey, what do you have there?" And he looked at me just stunned and confused, and he said, "It's an iPod." And I had no idea what an iPod was. And it required a lot more explanation, because I thought it had something to do with like a mini disc, or that there was some sort of cartridge of some kind that they must be putting in. And he explained to me that no, there were music files that you would dump onto this mini hard drive, and that's how you were accessing these music files. And I was in shock. And actually, recently I came across a picture that I wanted to share with you, just so you could see. This was me 2 days after I had returned home from my mission. So this is proof that I was once skinny, full head of hair. So this would have been around June 18th, 2005. and I was 21 years old. So I thought that was kind of a fun photo I came across. I thought I'd just share that part of my life with you. A couple more things that I want to share with you real quick. One is that there's a lot occurring in the market, even in our local markets. Some of you probably read about some significant acquisitions and mergers that are taking place, including Community Hospital has signed a letter of intent to sell to Centura. So Community Hospital in Grand Junction seems to be pursuing being acquired by Centura. It's not shocking. Community Hospital has struggled for several years. I think they made sort of a poor decision to build a very expensive new hospital and haven't been able to compete with that new facility in that market. And so they've struggled financially, and Centura's kind of sweeping in. They've got very deep pockets, and I fully expect them to take over Community Hospital and compete quite well in that market. It's prompted a lot of movement already from healthcare providers and specialists. It's shaking up the market quite a bit in Grand Junction, and I don't suspect that'll impact us too much directly in the short term, but some short-term consequences will be the movement of providers in specialties and subspecialties that we refer to, either from our Fruita and Clifton locations, or even subspecialties or different specialties that aren't accessible in the Montrose market or that are being referred to Grand Junction. We're going to have to keep on our toes and see how the movement of providers goes around, and I'll try and keep you abreast of those things. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. There's also a lot of really exciting things, CVS and Aetna. There's discussion about Walmart purchasing Humana. There's a lot of really interesting things happening on a global scale, and certainly we'll discuss those things more as they have potential impact on us. The last thing I wanted to do is to kind of share with you something that I found inspirational. Pretty recently, I watched a really good movie, and that was Won't You Be My Neighbor? Of course, it's sort of a documentary film about Fred Rogers. I, along with many of you, grew up watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I enjoyed his genuine, sweet, and kind way of talking, and I found the film and inspirational. This was a man who genuinely tried to do good in all ways of his life, and wanted so badly to build confidence and kindness in young people. And I thought I'd share just a couple inspirational quotes from that film and from Fred Rogers. There are three ways to ultimate success. The first is to be kind. The second way is to be kind. The third way, of course, is to be kind. He exhibited kindness in all that he did, and it's something that, of course, our world needs more and more of. We're so separated by political parties and racial differences and demographics galore. And we need to be an organization that exhibits kindness internally to each other as coworkers, but also that hope that passes along to our patients. The other quote that that really impacted me was, he said, "As human beings, our job in life is to help people realize how rare and valuable each one of us really is. That each one of us has something that no one else has or ever will have. Something inside that is unique to all time. I stuttered over that, but also I'll repeat it. Something inside that is unique to all time. It's something worth mulling over and thinking about, each one of us. We really genuinely do. Each one of us have unique qualities and unique purposes in our life. And no one else ever has or ever will have those unique qualities that we have. And it's up to us to discover those, to share those with the world. And hopefully, at least part of that can be exhibited in the way that you perform your job. Um, I try so hard to find those unique qualities, um, and be those, exhibit those not just at home with my wife, with my children, and my neighbors and friends, but also with all of you. Um, so that's my um, little blurb today. Let me know how you feel about it, and share any comments or thoughts. So I'll send this out, and I'll do these periodically, probably with some frequency, and probably with less background, and probably shorter. Thanks. Talk to you later.